I'm Matt Milstead. This is Dave Koss. We run Mograph.com. Mograph.com is it's a website for motion designers where we have tutorials and classes and big community and stuff like that. We've got a big Slack channel with like 2,000 motion designers and stuff. If anyone wants to join, hit me up afterwards. We also do a weekly podcast where we bring in different motion designers from all around the world, and a podcast network where we've also got a couple of other podcasts like the Go Gorilla podcast. It's all about guerrilla filmmaking, and then Cartoon Feelings with Caitlin Kaju, where they talk about how cartoons make them feel, which is great.
We've got a couple videos we're going to show before we kick things off. Figured we'd show you the Mograph TV one. Mograph TV is part of our site, and Mograph TV is a 24/7 motion graphics channel. You can put it on all day and watch it all day instead of the news. So just much happier. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and show that first.
Introducing Mograph TV from Mograph.com, a free motion graphics and animation channel streaming your favorite content and favorite artists 24/7. Mograph TV features motion graphics tutorials, talks, tips, inspiration, and replays of popular live shows. We offer something for all levels of designer, from introductory tutorials to high-level breakdowns and everything in between.
That track looks great to me.
Mograph TV features software like Cinema 4D, After Effects, Unreal Engine,
what up,
third-party plugins, and other 2D and 3D software. We also feature live motion events, short-form clips, crypto art, and even a little photo and video editing. Learn from the people that inspire you most, and stay up to date on all the latest industry news, announcements, and community events. You'll also see exclusive offers only available by watching. With 3 8-hour blocks each day, you'll be sure to catch everything, no matter what your time zone. Keep it on as a companion to your workday and learn something new. Meet a friend, watch a demo, catch a classic tutorial, or even find new inspiration.
That's a British word?
A lot of things are British words.
Yes, good luck with all your projects.
Mograph TV, television for the design community, 24/7.
Alright, so that's Mograph TV. I like to say, turn it on and rip the knob off. You can turn it on, watch it while you're working during the day. It's kind of a weird experiment that it started out as, and
lots of different, there's all sorts of skill levels, which is great. And we've got a bunch of amazing partners, companies that we've partnered with, like Boris Effects and Maxon and
Swarovski,
and
so independent designers too.
Yeah, it's been great being able to have a whole bunch of different content going at all times. So make sure and check it out. It's on our YouTube channel or mograph.com/TV.
And we pipe our live show into it too. So whenever we go live, we go into that channel as well.
Every Monday at 1 o'clock y'all's time. Right? Yeah.
And we also run Camp Mograph.
Camp Mograph.
About that.
Yeah, this is our, Camp Mograph is our yearly event that we hold for motion designers and illustrators and designers. It's a chance for all of us to get away from the computer. We like to call it the anti-conference because, it's 4 days of hanging out and talking shop or not talking shop, and
no computers.
No computers. There's barely even cell service where we've been the past few years. It's really nice. So you can unplug and you can have a good time. And we've got we always bring in industry professionals to talk each night. So this year we've got, who all do we have? We have John Lepore, previously at Perception. He's done a ton of Marvel movies. We've got Amanda Russell from Cream Studio, and then we've got Freddie Wong from Rocket Jump speaking as well. And it's really great. A bunch of really great designers that we bring in to hang out, but it's a 4-day event with workshops and activities and camping and, and libations, lots and lots of libations. So
We have a video too. We'll show you what it's
Say that.
all about. It has a date at the end for ticket sales from last year.
you can ignore that because it's sold out. It sells out in about a minute every year. So
Which we're very happy about.
yeah, which we're very
Glad
happy
people
about.
like it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll go ahead and play that one here.
I love all of it. It was like the best thing like this I've ever been to.
How often do you get to like disappear in the middle of nowhere, do shit, be with great people, and there's like such a creative like energy and osmosis. You don't get this anywhere else.
And to be able to connect on like not a networking level, but on like a friend level is just everything to me. All the activities are super inclusive. The lectures are just a lovely mix of interactive and informative.
All the homies are here, and I didn't really even know, but like I thought like I would be hanging out with everyone that I already know, but that is far from the truth.
It's relaxing. It's super fun. You get to see everybody who's awesome and also learn from really cool people.
Beautiful. The smile's actually really on everybody's faces. It's been so long to be able to see people's faces and to see them this happy. It warms my heart.
It's outside of, motion design, and we talk about life.
Standing in the woods right now, hanging out with like my friends and like the world's best artists all being here, like doesn't get any better than that.
Just do it. It's good for your soul.
There's no way this doesn't end up being like a life-changing and amazing experience.
So that's our cult. If you'd like to, you can sign up. If you want to hear more about camp, you can go to campmograph.com and sign up for it. Oh, I forgot the Beeple part. That was
There's
funny.
Beeple.
That was Beeple.
Asterisk Beeple is not there every year.
He's not, no, he was just there last year, and the only reason we got him is because he's our friend, and we booked him before he got really big.
Yeah.
So.
I do wonder sometimes the net worth of all the people at that one. There's a lot of NFT artists at
There
that
are,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
Someday.
One
Someday
day.
I'll get paid to make NFTs.
Right. So, yeah, on that note, I'm going to be talking today about NFTs and crypto art. How many people know about NFTs and crypto art? Okay, yeah, all right, that's great, okay. And I'm sure there's a lot of negative feelings towards NFTs and crypto art, and I feel that as well. I'm just here to talk about it and put it out there and, not shed a good or bad light on it. I'm just gonna talk about it. So, is this an NFT? Let's start off with what NFTs are. Cool, yeah. Now I'll just hit the button. I'm good. Yeah, I got things memorized, right? I do this every week. Let's talk about what NFTs are. I like to, this was one of my NFTs, you like that? So I like to think of NFTs as like a certificate of authenticity. It is your receipt of some digital art. Previously, if you were trying to make money with digital art, you could sell prints. That was like a big thing, was selling prints of your work. And, this is Beeple's prints that he sells. And, he's one of the biggest motion designers that people know of. And so I use him as an example. And he sold prints, still does, for about $25 a piece, right? But you'd have to sell a lot of those in order to make the $69 million that he made on selling one NFT. Now, everyone hears that money and they're like, oh yeah, and that became the big boom in 2021. Everyone wanted to get into this NFT space and make a lot of money. Well, we'll get to what happened afterwards. But this is Beeple. Everyone knows Beeple. He became famous for, selling this piece of art for $69 million at Christie's, which represents 15 years of his everydays that he's done. So these are some of the other top artists, Pac, Snowfro, but you can see $323 million is not, a small bit to laugh at. There's a lot of money in the NFT space, especially last year, not so much right now, but we'll get there. So this is Pac. Pac's one of the big NFT artists, and I don't love Pac's work. That's me. That's just me. But he's been able to use utility through NFTs and the blockchain in order to create this this want or this need for his work from collectors and stuff. And we'll get back into utility here in a minute. But this is Urs Fischer. Do you guys know Urs Fischer? He is a physical artist. He creates these beautiful statues of intersecting everyday objects and stuff like that. And when NFTs started becoming bigger and bigger, you saw a lot of these physical artists or comic book artists getting into the NFT space and kind of giving it some credibility. This is an actual physical piece that Urs Fischer did, and you can see this is some of his NFT work, which very similar to the work that he has done in the physical space. And so it's been, artists like this kind of gave it some notoriety, kind of made it a bit more legit. So going back to what NFTs are, like I said, I like to think of it as a certificate of authenticity, and because it's on the blockchain, you can see whose wallet it was from and where it's gone and so on and so on. So you can always trace it back. Previously, not being able to, say you bought, okay, I'm a big collector, that's me. I love toys. I've got a whole closet full of toys. Ask my wife, she hates it that I've got all these stupid toys that I hold on to. But when you buy some of these collectibles, you get a certificate of authenticity. It's number 1 of number 500, and you can resell that if you want. You get a Pokemon card, that's a shadowless Charizard that my 9-year-old keeps telling me he wants. And I'm like, dude, I don't have $300,000 to buy a Pokemon card for you. But you've got that proof of authenticity, and previously you weren't able to do that with actual digital art. Or even with proof or with prints and stuff like that. Well, through the blockchain technology and stuff like that, you're able to actually show that, hey, this came from this artist's wallet, and this is the number in the edition and stuff like that. And it's great. It's been very good for artists who specifically want to get into this space. So there are several marketplaces that you can use. You've got Super Rare and Nifty Gateway are two of the big ones, and they're the ones that really brought up this space, Nifty Gateway specifically. And if you were an early proponent of NFTs and were able to get in with Nifty Gateway, you're a millionaire at this point. But those are the two spaces where you have to be invited, and once you're invited, you can kind of make some good money off of it. This piece up in the middle, this one called Wormhole, that's a friend of mine, Ryan Talbot, and he went specifically NFT artist completely, and he's been able to make a living with it. That one was shot from just yesterday, and you can see it's going for $34,000, which is pretty great considering the market right now. Then there's OpenSea, which is on top left. That one is for basically anyone who wants to sell NFT work. You can upload it, and then to mint it, it does cost some money. I'll get into that in a minute because there are things that I want to talk about, other things. So collections. Collections became a big thing in 2021, and I think they are not only they're interesting in the fact that you've got a lot of utility with it, but I think collections became really where the negativity in the NFT space came from, and has been a big downturn in the NFT space because you've got things like the CryptoPunks or the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks were some of the first collections to, really strike it big. And so you hear people talking about how they've got a Bored Ape, and the Bored Ape is worth $100. Right now, I think the floor for a Bored Ape, if you want to buy one, is $140,000, which is a lot of money. But it comes with utility, and the utility. Let me see if I can. Utility. There we go. The utility that the Bored Ape Yacht Club has is you can use its likeness for any sort of, anything you want to create with its likeness. You get that. You can use that however you want. So one interesting thing, this is an example. Adidas decided to buy a Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you can see it up there, and they created their own NFT based off of this Bored Ape Yacht Club character. And so then they used that character to create their own NFT and sold that and made it to where if you owned this NFT from Adidas, then you got advance chance to buy some of their merchandise, like their shoes or their shirts, and only you could do that. It's similar to what Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing on its own marketplace, where you can only buy that stuff if you own a Bored Ape. And so Adidas did that, and they ended up making $45 million on their drop, which is a crazy marketing scheme. And I'm like, why don't I spend $130,000 on a Bored Ape and start putting them in Walmarts, right? You know, plastering them everywhere. But it was a good marketing idea for them. And the utility of that, you know, being able to give people advance ownership of other things is a really good idea. Another one, VFriends, Gary V. Does anyone know Gary V? Gary Vaynerchuk. He was really big into Web 2, really big into Web 3. He started this VFriends, which if you own one of his, you know, it gives you access to him personally, or you can go out to lunch with him or something, you know, or you get free access to VCon, his convention every year. And I mean, you know, that's a thing. The utility is a thing that can come with this, and you can check. A cool thing about the utility, like for example, so say, you know, you're tired of having your VFriend, you can go ahead and resell it. And because it's on the blockchain, you can resell it to someone else, and they can then have that utility. You know, so it's not like a one-time purchase thing. You can always resell it and resell that utility with it. So crypto's crashing. Yep, totally. And so OpenSea, one of the big marketplaces, announced a lot of layoffs lately. And you can see, this is just the crypto market. November, it was up to almost $5,000, and now yesterday it was up to like $1,800, which is a significant, you know, dip. And because of that, you know, and the general market as it is, we've seen a lot of crypto art, you know, start a big downturn in the crypto art. You saw Ryan Talbot's earlier, the wormhole one, that was going for about $36,000. Previously, it probably would have gone for $100,000. You could see that in some of Beeple's work. I was lucky enough to pick up one of his pieces very early on, and I got real lucky. I sold it for $196,000, and now it's worth like $75,000. You know, so I think mine was like the second highest NFT collection of his ever sold, and I sold it. I did a lot of praying on that one. I got that one taken care of. So anyway, are NFTs dead? I don't think so. I think, and I have said this from the very beginning, there was a huge influx of artists. And you can see that some of them, you know, put art out there, and it costs money in order to mint stuff and put it on a marketplace, you know? And so a lot of people lose out on money. You know, I've probably spent a couple $1,000s posting stuff onto these marketplaces and not getting them sold. So you're losing out on that money. And it's tough. So you'd see a lot of people drop off, and then the people who stayed in the space and who made a name for themselves, you know, they really stayed. And so you've got collectors who are collecting this digital art, and there's still the opportunity in order to create digital art and create NFTs. But you really have to start like building a user base, and you know, that's one of the biggest things. It's like Instagram, becoming an Instagram influencer. If you want to sell your NFT, you've got to sell yourself, and you've got to, you know, be out there. I think NFTs are normalized now, or at least will be, and eventually once it gets to the point where these mint fees aren't killing people, you know, in costs, and it can become just like selling prints, you know, oh, this is my work, here's also some NFTs that I sell. I think that's where the future of it's going to be for digital art, and that's where I want it to see. I don't want it to be this, you know, it's become very crypto bro-y, you know, and I hate that. Like, I think that's one thing, especially with the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's very bro culture, and I don't love that. And I would love to see that go away and just normalize to where it's here's my art, and if you want to buy it, if you want to appreciate it, you can. So you can see, this is just some of the top collections just in the past week. Some of them have sold $41 million worth of stuff, the top one. And Bored Ape and, CryptoPunks are still up there. They're still making money. So it's not dead per se. It's just a crypto winter. And so if you're interested in doing NFTs or creating crypto art, there's opportunities out there. And there are also other places that allow you to mint for next to nothing. And you can get your work out there. I think eventually there will be a space where people will be able to post their stuff and be able to sell it. But I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions about NFTs, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But Dave's going to go into the next big fad of our motion design world, and that is AI generative art, right?
Yeah, last year was the year of NFTs, and now feels like there's all these shakeups every year now. Artificial intelligence. So who has heard of AI art at this point? Who's tried it? All right. If you haven't, AI generated art is basically you type in a prompt, you give some commands to a computer, to AI, and it spits something out on the other end. You got two big ones right here. This is Midjourney and DALL-E. DALL-E 2 is out now. I just got access to that. I prefer Midjourney right now, personally. I'm really enjoying it. And so you put in these prompts. You can put things like style, maybe an artist you like, an influence, a technique, put in color that you like. You can even feed images into it and say, I want it to look something like this. There's amazing results. You can then do variations on those. You can say, I make 4 more versions of this kind of similar to each other. And then when you're done, you can upscale it too. There's some really cool stuff that it's generating right now. And some of it looks kind of weird sometimes, but it's getting there. It's a lot of fun to play around with, and sometimes even just put like goofy things in there and just see what the computer comes up with. But there are haters, just like with NFTs. And personally, I would say give it a chance. It's a tool rather than a replacement. And a lot of people just shun it because they're like, oh, this is going to replace us. We don't need motion designers anymore. You're still going to need humans. It's something that I encourage people to try and see if you like it. This photo right here is probably one of the most famous photos of all time. And I would consider this art. I don't know about y'all, but back in the day when photography was new, people really didn't consider photography art, which is especially painters, right? Painters would basically take a photo and say, okay, this is great for reference. I have a photo of something and now I can paint it. And there was a quote, 1865 article in The New Path said, much may be learned about drawing by reference to a good photograph, that even a man of quick natural perceptions would be slow to learn without such help. So this is how I kind of feel about AI right now. AI is a tool to help you in your art, but they also went on to say that it lacked something beyond the mere mechanism at the bottom of it. It just was not art. And everybody would say, oh, all you have to do is hit the button. But we all know now that to take a good photo, there's a lot more to it. There's emotion, there's color, there's lighting, there's all this stuff that goes into it. Of course it's art. So things change. And that's why I say, embrace it. It's 2022, we've got new AI technology, and it's just changing constantly. Every day it's evolving. Everybody's playing with it. There's so many people on Midjourney right now getting really cool results. But to put in these terms and get a good photo or a good piece of art out of it is kind of an art in itself. It's like Googling or being good at Googling or Google image search. One thing that I would say about this stuff is you got to be careful about how you post it. If you post something like this and you don't say that this was AI art, everybody's going to think it's yours. And I think it's important to say, hey, this is just some art that I came up with these prompts. I love what the AI is doing. That's cool. But if you're saying it's yours, that's a little bit weird. If you try to take credit for it. So that's why I say you should use it as a tool just to help you in your creative journey. But don't be afraid to say that it helped you. I think that it's not any different really than doing a Google image search. You know, if you're working on a project, you do an art board and you put stuff on it, style frames and things that you like, and that's where you want to go with it. It's just another way to brainstorm. But in this case, it's more accurate. It's closer to what you're actually looking for in your end result. And I like to call it the outboard imagination, because when I sit in front of a computer with a blank canvas and I just have no ideas, I just hate that part. It's such a block for me. I put a cube in the middle of my 3D scene and I'm like, okay, now what do I do? But it's allowed me to really get through some personal artistic blocks that I've had. And so, example, I went on Midjourney. I really wanted to do this like retro old library with like some CRTs, some monitors, kind of like an alternative retro future, just kind of a dream. And I came up with these slides, and I ended up with these stills that really got my creative juices flowing. I just loved where it was going. I ended up with this frame right here, and I'm like, okay, this is the scene. The other stuff is helping me with my ideas. This is the scene right here I want to recreate. But you can see it's not the clearest photo. It's a little garbled. Even the up-res version, you can't make stuff out. You got to fill in the blanks yourself. So I started building the scene in Cinema 4D. Here's another one right here. It's up to the human to kind of fill in the blanks, right? It's almost like when you have a dream and you're trying to describe it to somebody, and you're like, well, we were at this place, but it wasn't that place, but it was actually at the beach, and you were there, but you weren't. And you're just trying to there's no way to describe it. You've just got to make it. And you fill in the blanks that the AI just cannot convey, you know, and that's how it helps. And in about 3 days, I was able to come up with this right here, and I'll play this for you. Very short, you know. That was, to me, that was great. To me, I felt like, wow, I was able to accomplish something and come up with an end result that I actually like, as opposed to stuff I usually come up with, which I don't like. And something felt great about that. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep using this tool because I really feel like it's helping my workflow. So here's another example right here, another one I did. Now, I didn't use AI for all of this. I mean, this is an example of using AI to help you in just one small portion. And for me, it was this little rocket thing here on the left. And I'll show you the whole video, another short one. And that's pretty much it. But that rocket right there originally was going to be like more like a missile. And I had a missile in the middle of the frame, and it was really skinny, and it didn't fit right. And I'm like, and I don't want to make it too prominent. It's going to take away from the rest of the scene. What can I do? So I started brainstorming on Midjourney, and here are some of the results I got. You can see I started with a missile, and then I kind of evolved into this other bigger piece. And I looked at the back, and I'm like, you know, that could be like a jet engine or something. And so I decided to put a jet engine in there, and then I took all these other variations and, you know, kind of figured out where I wanted to lay it out. And from concept to completion of just the rocket part, not the whole thing, it was only about 2 hours. I started with that. I went directly to this. I was using my library of textures and little different pieces in there. I got you know, a library with like buttons and wires and all of that, and then I used Cinema 4D's volume builder to really build this out and come up with this. And I was really happy with this. I'm like, this looks cool. I got grayscale gorilla textures all over it, and it was such a great way to get something like that done quick and come up with something that actually I felt good about and that actually worked in the scene. So all that to say, you know, give it a try. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in the next decade or so with this. I'm sure it's going to go into 3D and texturing and modeling and animation and maybe even video editing. Imagine you can take all your footage and say, hey, computer, do this for me. So you still have your job, it's just not as monotonous. It's kind of fun. Imagine like even an app, a TikTok type app or something where it's all AI driven. and all of it is feeding you content that you love because the algorithm knows what you love. Maybe that's a little scary, but it could be nice. It could be entertaining. I don't know. So, AI can really augment your creativity, and I'd say just don't be hesitant to try it out. So now on both of these things, we're gonna do like a Q&A now. So we'll open it up a little bit.
There we go. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions about either of those, and I'm sure we will chime in. Anybody have any questions? I would love to hear what questions you have. If not, cool, let's get out of here and eat some tacos. Yes?
I was curious, where do they source the images for AI art?
That's a really good question.
It depends on which one it is. I mean, it's not any particular one. I'm sure they feed it stuff. I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's a secret, but it's just thousands and thousands of images.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see. I've seen some news articles where it's like, okay, so if you're typing in a prompt and you're saying in the style of so-and-so, they're probably referencing that artist in particular. So where does the copyright come from and stuff like that? I've seen a lot of people discuss that, and that'll be really interesting to see. But like Dave was talking, as far as the outboarding mind or whatever, being able to like use that as a starting place, I think is just fantastic.
And the thing though is, if somebody said, hey, will you make this thing in the style of Beeple, and you did that, there's no copyright there. So I know it's technically AI, it's technically machine, technically the ideas were fed in from somewhere, but also your own ideas are fed in from somewhere. Your own influences come from somewhere. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
More questions? Yes.
Yeah, in the inspiration process, it could be a long time, it could be a short time. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. These were kind of just like dailies for me. So I didn't spend too much time, maybe a couple hours, trying some variations on some things, feeding some stuff in. But I can imagine if you were doing a bigger project, you would really spend more time on that. I think you would probably do, maybe explore some different styles, especially if it's for a client, say, here's this style we explored, and then this one, and then this one. Easily you could do a day of explorations, and kind of the same way you would if you were doing a style board for somebody.
The biggest thing I've noticed with a lot of these is, like Dave said, you need to be really good at your prompts. Being able to, it's like Google, it's exactly like Google. Being able to say, so-and-so, this style, I don't even know.
Well, Midjourney actually has kind of a guide, like a document that you can go through. You say, okay, these are the variables that you can enter in, and you can weight stuff. Between 0 and 1, you can say, I want 0.75 influence of this type of color, But
are we connected to the internet? You should do one live.
Oh my gosh. Okay, when you're answering some other questions, I'll try and pull it up. We'll see what we can do.
Because I'll tell you, Midjourney, like when I got my invite, my friends were like, be careful because it's addicting. Just being able to throw in prompts and see them, like it's crazy the stuff that it comes up with.
I bought the subscription because most people, if you're just doing the free one, you're just doing it in public. And I was like kind of embarrassed. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and so I like to have it private because you can do a private message with it. It's all in Discord for Midjourney. And you can do a private message and you can say, oh, here's what I'm looking for. But something great to do with that is to study what other people are doing publicly.
Yes.
If you go to the different channels, you can see what people are doing. There's daily prompts. There's ridiculously good artwork out there, and of course I'm going to go back and reverse engineer it and say, what did they put in? What did they put for style? Okay, well, I see what they're doing there. Okay, now I know how to use that. Now what about color? Now what about this? So studying what other people are doing really helps you come up with something a little bit better than just kind of.
And here's what's interesting about it is you can type the same prompt in several times and you'll get different results every time.
You'll never get the same thing.
You'll never get the same thing.
Yeah, and that's what the variation button is too. You say variation, it's basically doing that.
Yeah.
It's doing the same thing.
Yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to say there won't be just strictly AI artists.
Okay,
because the thing is, like, you know,
I know there
I don't want to be
already-
that painter person from the 1800s. You know?
I know there already are some AI artists out there that are specifically creating their own algorithms in order to create this art. And I personally would call that, you know, art. I know there's this one artist that takes all of Beeple's work and creates different prompts off of that. And I would call them an artist. You know, I'm not going to spend my time programming all that and throwing that through a thing in order to get it all, you know. Who was it that we had on the show that was an AI artist? Do you remember? And I can't remember what he was doing. We have done so many shows.
I know. It was, gosh, I can see his face in my head.
Yeah.
But what was he? Oh, he was taking AI and then he was like animating it. He was doing some Shipley.
Yeah.
Nathan Shipley, is that right?
Question mark.
Question mark?
Yeah. But he has done a lot of really, really cool stuff. And he's a 3D artist as well. So, but he was able to program this stuff. And to me, that's an art form in itself.
Yeah, that's really the thing. It's like some people might not find what you're doing to be art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. If you think it's art, then, you know, maybe it's art. But, you know, I would say in the future, there probably will be people who do that very well. And they'll probably have a secret sauce. They'll probably have their own algorithm. They'll have their own prompts, and they won't tell anybody what they're doing, you know.
Yeah, he was taking animated, like, GIFs and stuff like that, or pictures, and then animating it with actual people moving and stuff, which is crazy to me, I think.
Yeah. Any other AI questions?
Or NFT? We don't have to talk about NFTs.
Yeah, we can do. Gosh, it's almost anything you want it to be. I mean, that's a good idea right there, doing lyrics, because imagine that was your thing. You know, that could be your thing. You take these lyrics for songs that you like and you match these things. That's an art form right there.
Yep.
You know?
I've seen several TikToks where someone will take an entire discography of a band and have the AI come up with music, you know, and you take all the lyrics and it comes up with its own song that is entirely based off of the discography of this one artist. And it's like, well, who owns that now? You know, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And some of it's real good. You
There's
know?
a guy on TikTok who actually, he had AI write a script. He had it make the characters. He had it make the music. He did the whole thing. But again, he's still in control of the whole thing. So he's the artist.
It's very interesting. Oh.
It will get better. It will get to the point where it's like Star Trek, where you tell exactly what you want, then you tell it to change it. I don't want to do any spoilers, but Westworld Season 4, the very beginning, there's something related to that in a more evolved way. And it was like, okay, I can see where that's going. So, yeah, it might be to the point where if you want an exact thing, you can really tune that in with the AI. Or, you know, maybe a business does that, right? Maybe a business doesn't need to hire a graphic designer because of that. There's still going to be somebody who has to be the operator of that thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been able to, you can actually feed like seamless texture into Midjourney, and it will create a seamless texture for you as well that you can use either as a paintbrush or a texture on a 3D model, and it's pretty impressive.
Video games, imagine you could make a video game exactly how you wanted it.
Yeah.
You know, I want a character
on easy
like
mode.
this. And but again, like, it all is kind of cyclical, right? Like, so say video games. Somebody's going to be really good at designing that video game with the AI, and then they become the famous person who is like the famous video game AI creator.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think there's always going to be a place for the human somewhere in there, hopefully.
Hopefully. I'm really excited for what you all are doing, you know, as far as creating this community and stuff. And, you know, I'm going to tease it. Dave doesn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to go ahead and tease it. So Mograph is in the process of redoing the website to where it's going to be a lot more community-based and being able to build communities through the website and communicate and hold events and stuff like that. And so make sure and watch out for that. And that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be really, really fun. And it's very important, in my opinion, especially after the pandemic, to start bringing these communities back together, because it's awful just sitting at your desk all day for 15 hours straight, you know, even talking to friends. We're on Discord all day long,
right,
you know, with several friends, and it's not the same as coming out and meeting people and hanging out.
And I don't know how many of you did a lot of that before the pandemic, but we just missed it so much, and it's just so valuable. It's such a valuable thing to get out and talk to people in public. I do have this ready. Hopefully this works. Can you hold my mic for a second?
Yeah.
There we go. All right, we'll give this a go. See if we can get this working here.
All right, we need a prompt. It's like a improv comedy, right? All right, give us a prompt. Anyone?
We need. Let's start with a subject.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Tacos. Oh, that's great.
Good.
All right.
All right. So
what style? Anybody? What style?
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh? What? Van Gogh? All right, a Van Gogh taco. I love that.
How do you spell G-O-H?
G-O-G-H, right?
G-O, is that right?
Yeah.
No. Is it?
Yeah.
I'm such a bad speller.
Don't cut that out of the video.
That's okay.
Let's add a little bit more to it. Tacos, but where? Where are these tacos?
In space.
Oh, space tacos. I like that.
Okay, I'll do space tacos. Space tacos in the style of Van Gogh. I hope this does something cool. All right, let's see what it comes up with. So it takes about a minute, and it starts filling it in a little bit.
Space tacos in the style of Van Gogh.
And then we're gonna pick one. We'll do a second round. We'll do a variation round too. Hopefully my internet stays
It becomes so addicting. So addicting.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There's space.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
And this is just something that
Anyone can do this.
Anyone,
This is open fully now. It was kind of beta, and then you could pay, and now everybody. It was like invites, and now anybody can do this.
That's.
All right.
I'm loving that one down on the bottom. Yeah.
Number 4. Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Right. It's like an invasion. It's almost there. So we'll take this, and then we'll do variations, and then we'll do the high res. So this is what's great. You come up with these, you figure out what you like, and you'll say either do a variation on 1, 2, 3, or 4, or upscale it, or you could do all of them if you want. You could also hit this refresh and say, I want 4 more. You know? So it's just limitless.
Let's do 4 more.
Do 4 more?
Let's do 4 more.
All right, do 4 more.
Let's see.
And at the same time, I'm going to go to number 4. I'm going to say do some variations on, did I hit that?
I think you did.
Variations on number 4. There we go. So we're going to get a
So
whole
it's like,
bunch
this
more
is your
space
outward
tacos.
brain, you know? This is like, hey, you know, let's just have some fun. Let's see what we've got. See, look, this second prompt is the exact same thing, but it's giving us something completely different.
Right.
You know?
Outboard imagination. Not brain. I think
Sorry.
Seth Godin will sue us.
Outboard imagination, you know? And it's like, okay, I like that. Let's take that one and let's recreate it. Or, you know, the cool thing about Midjourney is they give you commercial rights for it if you're paying for it, you know? So you could straight up be like, here, client, this is what I created. You know, that'll be 2-day rates worth.
All right, so now, that's pretty cool right there.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
I like these. All right, so let's try and upscale one of these. Is it done? I think it's done. Okay,
Yeah.
which one do we want to upscale? I don't know.
That top, the bottom left one is pretty good.
Bottom left.
Yeah.
Bottom left. All right, so we're going to upscale 3. We're going to let that run.
Right?
Now, see, there's a whole slew of stuff that we could type in to make this thing like really like get a lot better, like, you know, high detail, all of this other stuff. But again, that comes back to like learning all those prompts and everything.
Tacos in space.
Okay, now I'm hungry.
Right?
Thanks. But
commercial, right? So you could like get this printed on a T-shirt and sell it or
Yep.
something.
100%.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
It's like $30 a month, right?
Well, you actually get a whole bunch for free every month. But,
Yeah.
But
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Sweet.
$30 a month.
I'm not paying for it right now.
to be able to do this privately like we're doing right now,
Yeah,
it's 30 a month.
otherwise like you see everyone's prompts, which is actually kind of fun. It's really neat seeing what other people are typing in, because then that also inspires you to do other things and stuff.
Right, that's the thing. Learning from other people in this process is super cool. Almost there, 85%.
So good.
We got some cover art for the YouTube video.
Right.
And then like me looking all hungry and there's like a white outline around me.
Right.
Real spammy looking. All right, there we go.
That's really good.
It's pretty fun.
That's really good. I mean, look at that taco texture. That's pretty good. Better than Van Gogh, right?
Do we want to do one more?
Let's do one more, yeah. All right, let's do a prompt.
We're gonna do a prompt. This one though, I want to try and say like, we're gonna at the end we're gonna say high detail and we're gonna say octane render.
Okay.
But
Octane.
other than that,
all right,
you get some prompts.
All right.
I'll take.
What do we got?
I'll take that.
What do we got? Come on. Ohio. There we go. Yeah. Ohio octane render.
And then what else?
Ohio.
Ohio what?
Can we? There's a hell is real sign in Ohio.
Okay. Ohio hell is real sign.
We really wanted it on the license plate. It didn't happen.
I hope this works.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anything else we want to put in there? Ohio hell is real.
That's pretty specific, yes.
All right.
All right.
I don't know.
It could end up being terrible.
But, you know.
We'll see.
That's why you pay the $30 so you can just
right?
do as many as you want.
Do it as many times as you want.
This is going to be real interesting here.
I like the suspense where you like
Right?
really see it.
Oh.
Didn't spell Ohio, right?
No.
Come on.
Ohio. Oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
Oh. Top right. Top right.
Yeah, top right. That looks like headlights or something. Dude.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now
Ohio is real.
Ohio is real. I think we're probably aiming toward number 2 with variations, but look at that. Look how cool that looks.
Right?
And even if it didn't get the wording right, who cares, right? You know,
right.
Style.
Exactly. You've got the style, you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio is real. I love that, dude. Upscale that one.
Look at number 3. Okay, I'm going to do number 2 and 3. Let's do, let's upscale number 3. And let's do variations on number 2.
I was thinking really like one of those radioactive signs, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Biohazard, that's it. Yeah.
It's the line.
Oh, man.
Oh, now. Yeah, there we go.
The bottom right, that's pretty cool.
Dang, yo.
It's not that bad.
Gosh, look how fast that was, too.
See?
Okay, bottom right, I'm going to upscale the number 4.
And if all of us had worked together on one piece of art, it would not come out looking like that.
Look at that.
Crazy.
That's so cool.
Ohio's on fire. Right, and now you mint that because you got the commercial rights to it, right?
That render is literally fire. And here we go, look at that.
Hell is real. And it's in Ohio.
HE triple
Heel.
hockey sticks.
Is that Heil?
No, it's HE triple hockey sticks. That's pretty cool though.
So yeah, that's AI art.
That's kind of what we do.
But can y'all see where it's going? It's like, okay, I can use this for a prompt for something else. You know, it gives you inspiration. It's like a customizable Pinterest board. I like to think about it.
Yeah.
So your presentation was better than mine.
Yeah.
Mine's old news though.
Yeah, NFTs is so 2021.
It's so 2021.
On to the next thing. What do you think is going to be next year?
Yeah. What do y'all think?
I don't know. The AI.
I have an Envato Elements, membership. I can go and I can find. I could create a snow video background that I can overlay on top of my footage myself, or I can go to Envato Elements and just download it. You know, someone else has already created it. You know, I don't see it too much as that much different than just buying stock stuff, you know.
But it also, so far, doesn't do the vector art. So if you do have an Illustrator friend, you can take this and you can say, hey, I really like this.
Trace image for me, if you
could. You like mock this up for me, you know? As far as, let's see, as far as doing like...
like cartoon turtle Illustrator or something like that.
Something simple, right?
So what is the final form of the file? Is it like a high-res?
It's just a JPEG. Yeah, high-res JPEG. How big can you get it, Dave? Like how big is the scale, do you know?
You have upscale and upscale to max. Like I can try and upscale this to the max and we can see the hell is real one while that's going. But also a lot of people take this into something like, what is it, gigapixel, what is it called?
Yeah.
Upscalers.
Yeah,
you know.
And you can upscale it to real big.
It's just, I don't even know how to describe it. And I thought more people would feel the way that I did about this when they tried it. And they're like, oh yeah, it's cool. But this is just like changed the way that I work.
I think this, how many of you have like used a VR headset, like a Quest 2 or something? Were you blown away the first time you tried it? And you were like, wow, I can't, like the first time I tried it, I thought it was such a gimmick at first, and then I tried it and I'm like, all right, I see where this is going, you know? And I think there's gonna be some negative, that's a weird turtle, dude.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, I will say, this is what I like to say about this too.
That bottom right one looks like Michelangelo.
It probably has some influence in the algorithm somewhere too. But that type of thing, I would actually aim for DALL-E 2.
Yeah, DALL-E 2 is really good at the illustrative stuff.
Yeah, and really good at like filling in the blanks. You can take a photo with nothing around it and say finish it. But I like to say DALL-E 2 has no imagination.
It doesn't.
Because, look at that hell is real thing.
DALL-E 2 is cool. It's like you can crop something. I've seen people take artwork, like already paintings, put them in there and have it expand, what's around the picture. Question?
What do you think the implications are for software like this beyond just like a 2D image?
I think eventually you'll be able to feed in just a single image and they will create a 3D model of that. And I think, or a 2D image, wow.
Yeah.
Save as background. I think eventually you'll be able to put in a 2D image and be like, all right, I need the textures from this or something like that.
1664.
1664.
Do you think you could like get GIFs out of this or like?
Eventually. I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I've seen some animation stuff done. It's very bad, but they can do animation. It just doesn't look that great. I think with stills, you only have to input so much, but with animation, you need a lot of reference, and that's a lot of information to feed.
Well,
as soon as you get to that, then AI overlords are taking over.
Well, it's learning from us too, because when we pick the ones that we like, it's taking that information and saying, okay, I see this is the right path for this. So that's why it's going to get better. But yeah, imagine if you were doing something in 3D and you didn't have the textures for it, and you're like, hey, can you AI just texture this for me? And just finish it for you,
The finish, would that take you to do? Process and all?
Well,
you're going to play around for a couple hours first and be like, I don't like this. I do like this.
Right, that's the thing. Like I might have made that missile and been like, I just don't like this. Or I might have not used the missile at all.
Yeah.
Beeple,
when he does his dailies, he talks about, he just goes through Pinterest and like looks for inspiration. I mean, in my opinion, this is all we're doing is just looking for inspiration. It's just easier to say, hey, I want to see a missile.
Now, Matt and I have a background. We met at this place years ago making terrible commercials.
Yep.
But we got our 10,000 hours of animating logos. So when it came to that rocket engine missile thing, I was able to complete that pretty quick because I just have experience in 3D. It doesn't mean that that's going to help you build it faster technically. You still have to be able to do that stuff. It just helped me figure out what I wanted because I could have sat there in 3D playing with stuff and then realized I didn't like it and trashed it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it saved me time and all of that.
Thank you all for coming out
Thank you very much.
and spending your evening with us. We appreciate it more than anything. Yeah. And
all right.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks.
Thank you.